Welcome for those of you who are tuning in while people are logging in and getting in to our comment section. Please let me know if you can hear me well. If not, I will speak up. And also, a special thanks to Tori, who is helping me out with the comments as well as the live feed itself. So, let me know what version, English translation you'll be using tonight. I am using the New King James Version, mainly because I have it in paper form. But I also enjoy reading from a variety of other English translations for various reasons. So let me know which one you'll be using tonight. I encourage the teenagers in our youth group to pick up any version, English translation, that they can read and understand, and then compare and contrast, so we can see what these ancient truths hold for us. So, also, when things get back to normalcy and we're meeting back at 6 Points Church here in Western Pennsylvania, Parker, feel free and join us on Wednesdays at 6:30. That would be great. And if you like this format, let me know in the comments. You can private message me. I would enjoy continuing them even after things return back to normalcy. So, with that being said, do we have some people logging in?
Pastor Dave.
Hi, Pastor Dave. Shout out to Pastor Dave and Diana Hutch of 6 Points for their support. And thank you for tuning in. So, tonight we are looking at Proverbs 26. If you've been participating the last few weeks, you know that we are going through the book of Proverbs. It's set up as a father giving advice to his teenage son on manhood and adulthood. It covers all elements of life, so everything from what to do for a living, working for a living, to raising children, to sex and marriage, money, you name it. If it has something to do with human life, the book of Proverbs talks about it at least once. And some of those things it talks about a lot. There's also a reoccurring theme with wisdom. Wisdom is often portrayed as a lady, a beautiful, gorgeous woman that should be sought after without any others coming in the way, and everything else should be rejected, and to seek out Lady Wisdom. The other reoccurring theme is the fool. Yes, Tori?
Nothing.
Okay. Is the fool. And Proverbs 26 talks a lot about the fool. So, the fool, that term doesn't get thrown around a lot in modern English, but it does come up a lot in the book of Proverbs. So, when we started back in January with Proverbs chapter 1, we came up with some synonyms for the fool, and the most popular one was...
Stupid.
Stupid! Yeah, the most popular one was stupid. Moron, ignorant, dumb, but stupid was definitely the most popular from the group, and that pretty much sums up what a fool is. They're stupid. Foolishness, fool, folly, all of those can be summed up as the modern interpretation of stupid. And it's something that should be shunned. The father, the writer, is telling his son, when you see people who are doing stupid things, have nothing to do with them. So, Proverbs 26, I read ahead, talks a lot about the fool. So, with that, we getting other people in?
Pastor Dave said, "Hello, Tim and Dorothy. I am proud of you." And then Brandon Anderson joined.
Brandon? Hi, Brandon. Glad you tuned in. So, the format's pretty simple. I'm going to read the chapter, then we're going to discuss it. If you have comments or questions, leave them in the comment section, and Tori will let me know what those are. So we can talk about them together. If you're using a different English translation than the New King James, let me know. Also, let me know what verses stick out for you, what Proverbs, and why. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Looks like we've been going now for about 5 minutes or so. Right? So, I'm going to go ahead and get started with Proverbs 26. As snow in summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a flitting sparrow, like a flying swallow, like a curse without cause shall not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet, and drinks violence. Like the legs of the lame that hang limp is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling is he who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of fools. The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire, and the transgressor his wages. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The lazy man says, there is a lion in the road. A fierce lion is in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does the lazy man on his bed. The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it out back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel, not his own, is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws firebrand arrows, and death is the man who deceives his own neighbor and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearer, strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are like tasty truffles, and they go down into the innermost body. Fervent lips with a wicked heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates disguises it with his lips and lies up deceit within himself. When he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it rolled back on him. A lying tongue hates those who are crushed by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. All right, so the Father speaking to the Son is not mincing a lot of words here. Let me know which one of these sayings stuck out for you. We got any comments going?
Debbie said, hello. Thank you, Tim and Dorothy Holt.
Hi, Deb. So I'm going to tell you one. I know some people don't like writing their Bible. I don't know if you can see it, but I write my Bible. Okay? I write notes pretty often. And there is one that is circled and one that is underlined. When I was reading ahead, I noticed I had done those previously. So I'm going to start with those. The first one is verse 12. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for him, for a fool, than for him. That one sticks out because the previous several verses talks about how hopeless a fool is. So being proud is not something recommended. And then verse 17. He who passes by meddles in a quarrel, not his own, is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Now, that one I just find comical. When I was younger, a mentor of mine used to tell me, if you see two people fighting, don't get between them, because odds are they'll gang up on you and it'll just go badly. Maybe he was familiar with verse 17 there. But have you ever grabbed a dog by his ears? Just the imagery of that makes me laugh, because no matter how tame the dog is, no matter how friendly the dog is, if you grab a dog by his ears, the dog is going to get pretty torqued pretty quick. Most dogs are pretty protective of their ears. I used to have a dog named Sambo. He was an Alaskan Husky and loved to play with him. When I was really little, I would ride him like a horse, just get on his back and ride him through the yard and the house. But didn't want to get near his ears because he would snap at you. And if you are familiar with the breed of Alaskan Huskies, their mouths are not small. So I just find that fascinating that the father here giving advice is relating getting between two people who don't like each other and are fighting, like grabbing a dog by his ears. You're going to get bit. So with the teens, and including my own boys as well as Tori, I've told them numerous times, if you've got two friends that aren't getting along, the best thing to do is just go, you know what, I'm done with this, I'm out, don't involve me, I don't want to be the middleman. The disagreements between the two of you. Now, if those two come to you to like mitigate, maybe there is, mediators are worthy of respect and honor, but generally speaking, if neither one wants you involved, the best thing to do is just step back and let them go at it. So, any other comments? Not yet.
Joseph Pastor Diana joined.
All right. Hi, Pastor Diana. So, as you can tell with Proverbs 26, most of it deals with foolishness or stupidity. Verse 3 sticks out. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, a rod for the fool's back. Yeah, that's pretty harsh too. There's other things in here too that I find interesting. One that I find myself doing somewhat often is I get in conversations online, and some of them are more meaningful than others. One of them, not that long ago, was interesting. I was trying to discuss a certain virus that is going around, popular right now, and different medical journals, different CDC recommendations, things like that. And every response that this person gave me was a personal insult or attack. And after 3 or 4 of them, I just went, I don't think this is worth it. I don't think it's worth my time, my stress, energy, because clearly they don't want to listen. They don't want to actually engage in a conversation. They just want to meddle to meddle's sake. So answering a fool according to his folly was kind of the thought I had there. And I know it's easy online to not look at people as people and just, go off. But we have to remember that we're supposed to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. So if we're going to do that, the book of Proverbs is going to help us a lot. So, is a man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking, is a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death. How many times have we heard that? How many times have you heard that, Tori?
What?
Where somebody just straight up insults you and then goes, oh, I was just joking.
Too many.
Yeah, it still hurts, right?
Pastor Dave said wisdom. Pastor Diana said good words.
So, I mean, it hurts. So, we have to be mindful of what we say, who we say it to, and when we say it. Not that long ago, I was watching a video, and I can't think of his name now, but he wrote a book called The Case for Christ. He's a pretty well-known forensic detective from Los Angeles, and he was doing a Q&A, and one of the questions was, how do you know when to tell people about Jesus? And he said the criteria he uses is if they're open to receive, if they're open to have the discussion, but if they're not, then don't waste your time. He said there's basically 3 types of conversations. There's one is somebody who actually wants to search for the truth, engage in a dialogue, and have a back and forth. They're open to the idea. They're open to the concept. And for those people, you push further. You give them more. You give them more evidence. You give them more to chew on. And you continue down that path. He said the second group is once you go, you know what? I don't know. It could be possible, but I just don't have time for it. He said those people, you just let them stew on it. You just let it simmer. You maybe give them a little bit here, a little bit there, but you just let them simmer. And he goes, and then there's other people who are like, you know what? Even if that was true, I still don't care. I still don't want anything to do with it. It has nothing to do with me. I'm going to live my life the way I want. And that's just going to be the end of it. Those people, don't bother wasting your time. It's going to frustrate you. It's going to just get under your skin, and then you end up looking like the fool. I know personally I've ran into that where I didn't take those cues and pushed hard, and it blew up in my face. So be mindful of that when you're talking with people, whether that's about what's going on with this virus and fear and quarantine and whatever, or it's buying groceries or, trying to find some toilet paper. What's that look for?
Pastor Diana put Lee Strobel wrote The Case for Christ.
Lee Strobel? Is that the guy? Okay. That's probably him. I don't remember which one it was. That might be the guy. So, and then, what was I saying? Oh yeah, when to talk to people. Is it raining or snowing outside?
Snowing.
Wow. Okay, so it's early April, and or mid April, and I look outside, and it looks like it's snowing out. That is just crazy here in Western Pennsylvania. Total sidebar. All right, so when to talk to people. So clearly, the book of Proverbs is written from that father perspective to his son, and I'm a son. I have a dad. I know he gave me some wise advice when I was a teenager. I also know that most of it I pretty much ignored until I was older, and like, you know what? The older I get, the smarter my parents used to be. So just keep that in mind too if you're talking to teenagers, or if you are a teenager. Hint, hint. They might not think they're listening. You might think they're blowing you off, but I remember things that my parents told me when I was a teenager that at the time I definitely ignored. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, you know what? Man, that sounds like something my dad would say. Oh, that's because that is something my dad said. So pay attention to that. We got any other comments?
Deb said, verse 12, do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Have to say, I have seen some people who are very smart and wise in their own eyes, but they don't have any common sense. I've had professors who would lecture and incorporate the students with their thoughts, and then there are those who talk and talk, putting me to sleep. Oh, by the way, little store up the road has toilet paper. And then Pastor Dave said, yes, it's snowing.
All right, so was that Deb you said? All right, so yes. When I was in college, I've been a student at 3 different colleges. One of them was a state public university. And I've had professors that whatever subject they specialized in, they were extremely intelligent. But one professor comes to mind. He was a ethics professor. And at the very beginning of class, this was at Iowa State University, he asked if anybody was profoundly religious in class, specifically a Christian. And at the time I was not a Christian, so I did not raise my hand, but there was another student in that class who did. And he said that in this ethics class, we were not going to be discussing religion, and if we wanted to discuss religion, then we needed to take the world religion classes that were down the hall. And sitting in that class, I almost started laughing, because without religion, there is no ethics. Without some type of understanding that there's a moral right and wrong, which is what religion is based on, you can't have ethics. They go hand in hand. But just how that professor worded it, I found comical. And then throughout that class, his big thing was everything is relative. And that didn't seem to work, and created quite a few interesting conversations. One of which was on the subject of, it was on rape and morality of rape. And the professor was adamant that rape was morally reprehensible and wrong, and quite frankly, everybody in the class agreed. But being an arguer myself, I pointed out that if everything was relative, then only one person had to say it was okay, and then it would have to be accepted by the rest. And my professor did not appreciate that viewpoint at all. And the view is very simple. If everything is relative, if each one of us makes our own rules for what is right and wrong, then if I say it's right, then it has to be right, and your morality cannot supersede mine. And likewise, mine can't supersede yours. Mm-hmm. So, in the case of rape, if one person somewhere says, yeah, it's okay, then everyone everywhere has to accept it. That's why morality and religion go hand in hand. It's because even other religions, non-Christian religions, have a basic framework of morality, and that morality transcends that religion. So, for Christians, it stems from God and Jesus of Nazareth, known as the Christ. We believe that there is a God, specifically the God, Yahweh, who is above everything else, created everything, and because he created everything, he also created all of the rules that function within that creation, including morality. And his absolute rule of right and wrong is the only one that matters. When we cross that, when we do things that he says are wrong, we sin, and when we do things that are right, then we do things that are right. However, where Jesus comes in is no matter how many right things we do, we can't balance out the wrong things. So we need a Savior, forgiveness. Without that morality system outside of our own, everything goes. It's anarchy. So, is there a comment?
Good word by Dave.
Okay.
Kimberly Hoff is watching, and Pam is watching.
Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Pam. So, with that morality being outside of ourselves, that's why we need a Savior, because every human being on the planet has done things that God says are wrong. Jesus told his disciples, you've heard the saying, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but I tell you, if you even look at a man's wife, you've committed adultery. If you've even had anger in your heart against someone else, you've committed assault. And he took it that step further of a matter of the heart, a matter of internal, the motivation, the desire creates the sin. So we are in need of a Savior. That doesn't mean Jesus took our place on the cross. That means Jesus took his place on the cross. He took his place to forgive our sins. He didn't pay our debt. He forgave our debt. So, any other comments?
Cindy B about's on, Carrie's on, and then Cindy was like, "Hello, just seen you was on. I forgot it's Wednesday."
It is Wednesday. So, glad you tuned in. If you, like I said at the beginning of the video, the live stream, if you like this format, let me know. Even after things return to normal and we're meeting at 6 Points Church on Wednesday nights, I am still open to having live streams as well as videos. So, anybody have a particular proverb in Proverbs 26 they'd like to discuss?
Verse 20.
All right, what's verse 20?
Where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no
Talebearer, strife ceases. All right.
This is so true. Good lesson to remember.
Who said that?
Deb.
All right, Deb, I agree with you. If there's no talebearer, another term for a talebearer is basically somebody, a meddler, or someone who just stokes the fire. They just churn things up. I'm sure if you've ever held down a job with more than one person in the office, you probably had somebody who just didn't matter what seemed to go on. They were at the root of most conflicts in the at work or even at school. Tori, I bet there's that one student, that one classmate that just seems to stir the pot, isn't there?
No.
If you don't think there is, you're probably that person. Because usually the person who's the pot stirrer doesn't admit they're the pot stirrer. But there's always someone who stirs the pot.
Carrie said, "Hi, all."
So
thank you for bringing the word today.
All right. So yeah, if Zach figured this out, having a fire in the backyard, if you don't keep adding wood to the fire, it will go out. If you take logs and take them out of the fire, it will go out. Without fuel, there is no fire. So without somebody stirring the pot, you're probably not going to have the conflicts. I also like how that goes hand in hand with the one that says, if you see two people fighting, leave them alone. I'm paraphrasing because I don't see it right offhand. But basically, if you see two people at odds, don't get between them. What's so funny? There's got to be a funny comment. Come on, let's have it.
Pastor Dave was like, gossip. And then Pastor Diana was like, don't mention any of the names. LOL. And then Deb was like, loves gossip and passing it along. Often, the message is changed many, many times.
Oh, yeah. There are certain professions that if you want to be a pot stirrer, there are certain professions that seem to yield themselves to pot stirring and gossip. News reporters, and we used to call them tabloids, but also politicians seem to be pretty good at pot stirring. Someone else that's really good at pot stirring is Dorothy. Mainly when she's cooking, because she likes to cook pasta and you gotta stir it. No? She didn't like that joke. I'm getting a dirty look just off camera. Just saying. Or stirring the marinara sauce. Just saying it's delicious. Alright, so yeah, that she didn't like the joke.
Roxanne Ryan is watching, and Lindsay Wells.
Hi Lindsay, hi Roxanne. So where is it here? Alright, check this one out. Verse 6. He who sends a message by the hand of the fool cuts off his own feet and drinks violence. Have you ever asked someone to relay a message for you? Have you, Tori? Have you ever, asked one of your friends, hey, tell so-and-so such and such? Like,
Not really.
not really? You never done that? When I was in middle school, that seemed to be a common thing, especially with, girls liking boys and boys liking girls. Hey, don't tell him I like him, but tell him I like him. Don't tell her I like her, but
Tell her.
tell her she, I think she's cute. It never goes well. Just want to point that out. Never goes well. Usually, upperclassmen are going to laugh at you, as well as teachers. But cuts off his own feet. If, I'm looking at my feet. I know a guy, we at work get called to his place. Not terribly often, but we do know him. He has no use of his legs. He's wheelchair bound. He has no use of his legs whatsoever. And when I read that, I thought of him. Not because he, gave a message to a fool. He actually has a medical condition where he's paralyzed. But just seeing him popped in my mind of, on a practical basis, giving a message to a fool to relay for you is like cutting off your own legs, not being able to use them. And he has a hard time getting around because he can't use his legs. And earlier today, I was working outside doing some landscaping and yard work, and Tori was helping me, and had to use my legs. Just saying. That had to use them. So just thought that imagery of giving a message through a fool is like cutting off your legs just doesn't sit well with me. I know sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not you're giving a message to a fool because some fools are deceiving. So, yeah, any other comments? All right. We're going to conclude this tonight. If you like this format, let me know, like I said, in the comments. Also, this video is going to get ported over to YouTube later this week, so you can rewatch it there if you like and comment. But I'm going to leave it with this. As snow in summer, because I'm looking outside, I know it's not summer, it's middle of April, but I'm looking outside and it's snowing. So we're going to leave on the very beginning of chapter 26. As snow in summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. If you know someone who is being foolish, if you are being foolish, Don't expect people to look up to you, admire you, or give you high esteem, respect you. If you want respect, if you want people to admire you and look up to you, don't be stupid. Be wise and conduct yourself accordingly.
Kim said, good work, Timothy. Pastor Dave said, fantastic. Pastor Diana said, love this format. And Sharon said, thank you, Timothy. And Pam said, this is a good thing.
All right. Thank you. So we're going to conclude with prayer. And if you are sick, if you are injured, if you want prayer, let me know. I will come to you. Stay home. Let me know. I will come to you. This is one way we can do that, is through this format. We can also do that by, physically coming and seeing you. But I want to benefit you and bless you wherever you are at and whoever you are. So, just like snow in summer and rain when it's sunny, be wise, serpents, gentle as doves. And we're going to conclude on that. So, I'm Timothy Holt. This is Youth Group 6 points. Don't take my word for it. Pick it up, read it for yourself, and we're going to pray. So, God, you are awesome. You are the author of wisdom and the finisher of our faith. You gave this ancient text to us for our benefit as well as the benefit of others. Let us be wise as serpents and gentle as doves, showing compassion and grace for all we come in contact with, whether we agree with them, whether we disagree with them, showing them esteem, showing them respect and dignity, but also standing on your word, standing on the truth, and seeking it out. You're awesome, God. Thank you for everyone who tuned in, and bless everyone who watches this video, who reads your word, who hears it, that it doesn't return void.